Hello everyone, this is Rig and today we are going to discuss about archaeology of the Vedic age. And to discuss about archaeology during that period, we need to go through different material cultures which existed from around 2000 BC till up to around 400 BC. So in order to do that, we will have to go through different kind of Chalcolithic cultures which has been preceded by different type of iron age cultures in the Indian subcontinent. So without doing any delay, let's get into details. The Chalcolithic cultures in India. Chalcolithic cultures mean the copper age cultures in India. And what are the type of systems which used to center around the material copper? The Chalcolithic period followed the Neolithic, characterized by continuity in general pattern on life, but with notable advancement including the use of copper bronze for tools, weapons and ornaments. So before the Chalcolithic period there was the Neolithic period and then came the copper age in India. It was notable for the technological advancement, especially in the use of copper and bronze tools. This era saw a significant increase in the number of settlements across the northern, central, and western India, alongside improvements in architectural techniques, evidencing advanced community organization and habitation practices. So, there were the Chalcolithic settlements all around. This is to be noted that the Harappan civilization, which we have discussed in last month, the Harappan civilization was also a Chalcolithic culture. But here, while discussing Chalcolithic culture in the Vedic age, we are not going to go through the Harappan culture, but the Chalcolithic cultures around the Indian subcontinent, and that includes the use of copper cultures in the northern, central and western India. Introduction of wheel-made pottery during the Chalcolithic period marked a technological advancement leading to a diversification of wares and elaborate decorations including painted, incised and applique designs on vessels. So the wheel-made pottery was a significant technological advancement in the Chalcolithic period, and there was also diversification in ceramic techniques including decorations of painted and incised designs. The key cultures identified included ochre colored pottery, which is OCP culture in the Indo-Gangetic divide, which means the place between the Ganges and its tributaries like Yamuna, and the upper Ganga Yamuna Dwab. Dwab means the land between Ganga and Yamuna river. Ahar culture in Rajasthan's Mewar region, Kayatha and Malwa cultures in western Madhya Pradesh, Malwa and Jorwe cultures in western Maharashtra, the Narhan culture along with its variants in northern Vindhyas and the middle and lower Ganga Valley. So these are the different kind of Chalcolithic cultures which we find in the Indian subcontinent during the Vedic period. These cultures highlight the regional diversity and complexity of Chalcolithic societies in India, each contributing unique aspects to the development of ancient Indian civilization through their distinct material cultures, settlement patterns and technological innovations. So all of these are unique in their own terms, and one by one we will discuss them in detail. Copper hoards. Now copper hoard is a very interesting feature of Chalcolithic culture found in northern India. It mainly suggests the fact that there were pots or hoards where many kinds of copper artifacts were found. Since the 19th century, copper objects have been discovered in groups at various sites in Indo-Gangetic divide, mainly in Punjab, Haryana, Northeast Rajasthan and Ganga Yamuna Doab, leading to their identification as copper hoards. So, a specific amount of copper artifacts were found together in the form of copper hoards. The hoards consisted of diverse objects including flat axe, shouldered axes, bar cells, double-edged axes, anthropomorphic figures, hooks, spearheads, and rings as documented by Lal. So Lal and Yule. So these are the archaeologists who have documented the artifacts which have been found in the hoards. In the left hand side you can see a picture of few of the artifacts which were found in the copper hoards. The heavy and unwieldy nature of these objects suggests that they were not utilitarian but likely held a ritual significance, supported by ethnographic evidence from Gonds of central India. So ethnographic evidence means relationship with few of the modern technologies. When we find relationship between one ancient culture and a modern system going on, then we find it to be as ethnographic study area, and thus from the Gonds of central India in the modern context we find similar kind of technology or system being used. Thus we can understand that this was not an utilitarian function but it had a ritual significance. The purpose and age of these copper hoards remain enigmatic. Small scale excavations were done by Lal at Bisauli and Rajpur Parsu revealed no copper objects but unearthed and weathered ochre color pottery. So everywhere we do not find copper objects but somewhere we find unearthed ochre colored pottery. The association with OCP culture, which means ochre colored pottery culture. Lal's discovery of weathered OCP near copper hoard sites suggests a potential correlation between the hoards and this pottery type, hinting at a complex cultural relationship. So wherever we find copper hoards, in many places we find OCP culture along with it. Thus we find a complex cultural relationship between these two kind of cultures. Now what is ochre colored pottery or OCP? It is found across various sites in Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan. OCP is characterized by its ill-fired ochreish red appearance with a tendency for the slip to peel off due to prolonged waterlogging as noted by Lal. So this is a pottery type which is ochreish red in appearance and the slip or the covering or the color has a tendency to peel off due to prolonged waterlogging. OCP includes jars, vases, basins and dishes occasionally adorned with incised designs, graffiti and black pigment paintings bearing resemblance to Harappan pottery shapes. So these are the kind of features which OCP cultured pottery has. Opinion is divided along the archaeologists regarding OCP status, with some viewing it as an independent ceramic technique and others as a derivative of Harappan pottery. So few archaeologists have related it to the Harappan pottery and few archaeologists have told it to be an independent culture. OCP settlements are characterized by small-sized and thin habitation deposits suggesting transient habitation. Limited excavations have revealed insights into their economy, including agriculture, domestication of cattle, and use of terracotta artifacts. So this was probably a phase of transition from one culture to another, and the excavation regarding the OCP culture is very much limited. Thermoluminescence dating of pottery from Atranji Khera, an OCP site, offers divergent dates of 2600 and 1200 BC, leaving the precise age of OCP culture unresolved. So we find different kinds of date from a single site, and thus there is a unsolved confusion regarding the date of OCP culture. Now what is Ahar culture? Ahar culture is one of the most popular culture in the Indian subcontinent, and it is a Chalcolithic culture which existed in Rajasthan area, the Mewar region of Rajasthan. Ahar culture thrived in the southeast Rajasthan's Mewar region, known for its undulating rocky plains interspread with fertile black soil patches. The area's agriculture benefited from crops like maize, jowar, and pulses during summer and wheat, barley, and mustard during winter, supported by an average annual rainfall of 750 mm. So it was a dry area, and the agricultural crops which existed in the Ahar culture are maize, jowar, and pulses during summer, wheat, barley, and mustard during winter. Nearly 100 sites have been identified across the valleys of Banas River and its tributaries, with significant excavations in Ahar, Balathal, Gilund, and Ojiana revealing detailed insights into the Ahar culture's lifestyle and societal structure. So many sites of Ahar culture have been discovered in the area of Mewar in Rajasthan. People lived in structures ranging from single to multi-roomed houses made of stone, mud brick, and mud, featuring underground and overground grain storage, kitchens with U-shaped chullas, and silos lined with grass and plastered with lime for grain storage. So these were the typical features of Ahar culture. A large sub-rectangular fortified structure have been found in Balathal, with walls up to 7 meters wide at the base and filled with burnt cow dung and ash, along with 3 human skeleton, points to a ritualistic practice despite the absence of discernible entrance. So this is a significant discovery on the site of Balathal, which indicates to the fact that there used to be some kind of ritualistic practice. Ahar economy and technology. Economic foundations. The economy was predominantly based on agriculture, cultivating crops like wheat, barley, and millets, and supplemented by animal husbandry and hunting of wild animals such as gore and nilgai. Copper was the mainstay of their technology, with artifacts including flat axes, choppers, knives, and tanged arrowheads found at various sites. Bone tools and ornaments also played a significant role. So these were the technological aspects. Ahar pottery included both fine wares for eating and drinking, tan ware, thin red ware, black and red ware, and quartz ware for storage and cooking, thick red ware, grey ware, showcasing advancing pottery techniques with well-baked, sturdy, and elaborately decorated vessels. So we find a rich ceramic technology existing in the Ahar sites. The fine tan ware shares close affinities with Harappan pottery, indicating cultural interactions or influences. So we find a link between Ahar culture and that of the Harappan culture also. Radiocarbon dating the places in the Ahar culture indicates the date from 3600 BC to 1500 BC, with Balathal being recognized as the oldest village in India outside the Indus civilization. So Balathal from the Ahar culture has been recognized to be the oldest village in India apart from that of the Harappan sites. Chalcolithic of Northern Vindhyas and the Ganga Valley. So the Northern Vindhyas and the Ganga Valley also has many important Chalcolithic sites, and we will go through them. The Chalcolithic period in Northern Vindhyas and the Middle Ganga Valley saw a considerable increase in settlement, extending eastward into Bihar and West Bengal, marking a significant eastward expansion of the culture. So this is for the first time we find eastward extension of any kind of culture right up to Bihar and West Bengal. With number of settlements increasing, notable sites include Kakoria, Magha, Koldhiwa, and Jhusi among others, demonstrating the widespread presence. So the presence of the Chalcolithic culture in Northern Vindhyas and Ganga Valley was very much widespread. Dwellings were predominantly made of wattle and daub, indicated by post holes, burnt clay with impressions, and mud floors, reflecting the architectural materials and techniques of the time. So these were the construction techniques applied by the Chalcolithic people in northern Vindhyas and upper Ganga Valley. Houses were usually rectangular and included hearths, chullas, and kitchen tools such as querns and mullers, showcasing the domestic lifestyle and culinary practices of the Chalcolithic people. The existence of multi-roomed houses with kitchen equipments suggests a well-organized domestic life with a degree of complexity in the construction and use of space within these communities. So there was a well-organized domestic life found in these regions. The ceramic tradition of the Chalcolithic period in the northern Vindhyas and Ganga Valley was characterized by the use of red, black and red, black slipped wares, all were wheel made and from well levigated clay. Well levigated clay means clay which was uniformly distributed, where particles were uniformly distributed and often decorated with geometric designs. Technology included copper tools and weapons, bone and antler tools and microlathes, while ornaments were made from semi-precious stones, terracotta, bone and occasionally gold. So this is for the first time we find importance and use of gold apart from the Harappan civilization. Agriculture and domestication was mainly based on plant cultivation including wheat, barley, rice, animal domestication, buffalo, sheep, goat, pig and hunting, reflecting a diverse and balanced subsistence strategy. So both animal domestication and agriculture used to thrive together in these areas. Evidence of burial as a form of dead disposal had been found at Kakoria, Magha and Sonpur, providing insights into the funerary practices and beliefs of the Chalcolithic people in these regions. So we find funerary practices and belief in afterlife also. Chronological context suggests that 1500 BC to 700 BC was the time period when these Chalcolithic cultures flourished. Next up we have the important Kayatha culture. Over 40 settlements identified in northern Malwa with significant excavations at Kayatha and Dhangwada reveal that people lived in small huts with rammed floors. Now this culture, Kayatha culture, has been named after the type site of Kayatha, and along with that we find Dhangwada as another very important site. While direct evidence of plant cultivation is scarce, indications suggest the cultivation of wheat and possibly barley alongside the domestication of cattle, sheep, goat and notably the presence of horse bones and terracotta figurines, marking the early evidence of horse domestication in late 3rd millennium BC. So this is for the first time we find evidence of horse domestication in the Indian subcontinent. It is to be noted that Harappa culture, despite all its technological advancement, did not know about the animal horse. So in Kayatha culture, for the first time we find evidences of horse domestication. Kayatha culture is distinguished by its chocolate slipped, sturdy Kayatha ware featuring convex sides, jars and carinated dishes with occasional linear designs in black pigment. And tools and ornaments of the Kayatha culture were the Kayatha people utilized copper and stone tools including elongated axes, microliths and blades and crafted ornaments like copper bangles and beads from semi-precious stones and steatite. So this was about the ceramic tradition and the tools and ornaments used by the Kayatha people. Radiocarbon dating places the Kayatha culture between 2000 to 1800 BC. So from the radiocarbon dates we get the chronology of 2000 to 1800 BC for the Kayatha culture. Malwa culture. Malwa culture is very significant because it is one of the longest thriving Chalcolithic cultures in the Indian subcontinent. Now it is to be noted that a typical Chalcolithic site did not have a single culture. There was overlapping of cultures, so the site of Kayatha may have Kayatha culture in the beginning and then Malwa culture also, and after that we may find Savalda or Jorwe culture also in the same site, and that can be identified with the archaeological stratas or the stratas of cultures found while we dig a site. More than 100 settlements across the valleys of Chambal, Narbada and Betwa rivers featured the wattle and dwarf houses with both round and rectangular shapes. So wattle and dwarf houses means houses where there is a kind of thatched roof, and these houses are both of round and rectangular shapes. Evidence from the sites like Nagda and Iran shows the house of mud and mud bricks for defensive structures such as ramparts and walls, and multi-roomed houses with sophisticated drainage systems. Malwa culture was marked by the cultivation of cereals, legumes, oil seeds and fruits alongside the domestication of cattle, sheep, goat and pig, showcasing balanced and sustainable subsistence strategy. Malwa were characterized by its wheel-made pottery with buff or cream slip and dark brown or black painted patterns. Included forms like lota, storage jars, bowls and channel sprouted bowls, reflecting a rich ceramic tradition. So Malwa culture had a very rich ceramic tradition. The culture's technology included copper tools such as flat cells and spears, alongside an impressive quantity of chalcedony blades and microliths produced using advanced techniques, evidencing a sophisticated toolkit. So this was the evidence of technological proficiency of the Malwa people. Malwa art, religion and chronology. The Malwa people's pottery featured geometric and naturalistic designs, including animals, birds, and dancing human figures alongside terracotta figurines that might represent mother goddesses, suggesting a vibrant artistic culture. So, we find evidences of existence in the belief in mother goddesses also. Terracotta figures included a male figure interpreted as Proto-Shiva and bull figurines, hinting at an early religious belief and practices, possibly foreshadowing later Hindu traditions. So we find existence of a sculpture which can be interpreted as Proto-Shiva with bull figurines also. The culture produced beads from semi-precious stones and ornaments like rings and bangles from copper, including a penchant for personal decoration and craftsmanship. So there was a tendency towards personal decoration and craftsmanship. The presence of certain pottery forms and copper swords with midribs paralleling the Iranian sites has led some archaeologists to speculate about the connections between Malwa culture and Aryan migrations into India. Now this is an old view about Aryan migration. As we have discussed before, there was nothing called Aryan migration into the Indian subcontinent, but still some of the archaeologists with an old viewpoint like to project the Aryan migration theory in relationship with the commonalities found between the Iranian culture and that of the Malwa culture in the Indian subcontinent. Radiocarbon dating suggests that Malwa culture thrived between 1700 BC to 1450 BC, suggesting that there was a significant archaeological culture within the broader prehistoric landscape of India. Savalda culture. Now, Savalda culture is another important culture which flourished in the same area as that of Kayatha and Malwa culture. Identified through excavation at Daimabad, Savalda culture predates the Harappan culture with significant findings from Kayatha showcasing the lifestyle and settlement patterns of its people. Kayatha is a very important site of Savalda culture. Kayatha revealed various pits used as dwelling, storage, and for poultry, which with the largest pit dwelling indicating semi-permanent structures supported by post holes, reflecting an adaptation to a semi-nomadic lifestyle. So we find existence of post holes around the pit, which suggests that there was a kind of a superstructure around the pit structure. A makeshift kitchen with two armed hearth made from clay lumps suggests a simple nomadic lifestyle still observed among the nomadic groups in the area, indicating continuity in cultural practices. So we find continuity in cultural practices and the lifestyle of people were semi-nomadic. The predominant red ware with black painted design shows a strong resemblance to Harappan pottery, while distinct Savalda ware features aquatic and terrestrial motifs, reflecting the cultural and environmental interactions of its people. Evidence of flimsy dwellings, temporary kitchens, and reliance on hunting gathering alongside subsistence agriculture indicates a semi-nomadic lifestyle with seasonal settlement during the monsoon for cultivation. So the lifestyle of Savalda culture can be assumed to have been semi-nomadic lifestyle. Now, Jorwe culture is another important culture which thrived in the same area. The Jorwe culture has over 200 sites from Tapi to Bhima valleys. So Tapi and Bhima are two important rivers, and Jorwe culture centered around these rivers with about 200 sites which have been discovered. Daimabad, Prakashe and Imamgaon emerged as regional centers with settlements typically 2 hectares in size, housing populations between 100 to 1000 individuals. Excavations at Imamgaon uncovered a granary and diversionary channel showcasing examples of public architecture aimed at supporting agricultural activities and managing resources. So Imamgaon is one of the most important site of Jorwe culture, and Imamgaon also has cultures like Malwa, Savalda, Daimabad culture and Jorwe culture. Early Jorwe period houses were rectangular with low mud walls and wattle and dwarf constructions, while the late Jorwe period saw a transition to smaller round huts, indicating an adaptation to environmental and economic changes. So people knew how to adjust themselves according to the environment. The distribution of settlements with higher density in the Tapi Valley and declining towards the Bhima Valley suggest an adaptive response to the availability of fertile black soil suitable for agriculture. Now, what were the subsistence method and technology involved in the Jorwe culture? The Jorwe people cultivated a variety of crops including barley, wheat, rice and millets, and reared cattle, sheep, goats and pigs, highlighting a mixed subsistence economy. So people had dependence both on agriculture and animal husbandry. Copper axes, chisels, fish hooks and unique antenna-hilted daggers with mid-rib indicate advanced metalworking alongside a stone tool technology featuring blades and microliths. Jorwe pottery, characterized by well-made, well-fried pots with black geometric motifs on red backgrounds reflect a sophisticated ceramic tradition with kilns found at Imamgaon and Daimabad. So the ceramic technology in Jorwe was very much advanced with diversification in wheel-made pottery. The presence of sprouted jars and cadenated bowls alongside cooking and storage pots in red and grey and black and red ware. So we find sprouted jars and cadenated bowls as an important feature in ceramics of Jorwe. The introduction of sprouted jars likely represents an innovative response to semi-arid conditions in the region aimed at controlling the water flow and usage. So people had to use water very much cautiously because there was limited availability of water, and that can be evidenced by use of sprouted jars and bowls. Now there was a burial practice in Jorwe. How was it? The Jorwe culture exhibited unique burial practices with adults buried in extended positions and children in urns, suggesting complex funerary rites and beliefs about the afterlife. So adults were buried in extended positions, which means their whole body was spread out, and children in urns means big pots. Urns suggest the existence of big pots. So children were put in pots and then buried. Artifacts such as human-headed panther figure and figurines depicting a goddess sitting over a bull, hinting at early representations of figures and concepts that would later become central to Hinduism. So we find a human-headed panther figure where a mother goddess is sitting. That can be assumed to be early form of Shakti worship, which became later very much prevalent in Hinduism. Clay figurines representing both male and female deities, including headless gods and goddesses, and Proto-Durga figure indicate rich religious life centered around fertility, protection, and possibly ancestral worship. So these are the kind of beliefs which the Jorwe people had. The transition to smaller dwellings and reliance on cattle breeding and foraging the late Jorwe period reflects an economic decline and shift towards more nomadic lifestyle due to climatic changes. Daimabad as the largest Jorwe settlement covering 30 hectares with an estimated population of around 6,000. So Daimabad is the largest Jorwe settlement found in the area with 30 hectares of area and a population of around 6,000 people. Now overview of Indian Chalcolithic. Across India, Chalcolithic cultures such as Ahar, Kayatha, Malwa, Savalda and Jorwe flourished with distinct settlement patterns, pottery styles and subsistence strategies reflecting a rich tapestry of regional adaptations. These cultures witnessed significant agricultural expansion with settlements ranging from large regional centers to smaller villages, hamlets and farmsteads, indicating varied social and economic structures. Cultivation of cereals, legumes and oil seeds alongside domestication of animals like cattle, sheep, goats and pigs underscored a mixed economy reliant on both farming and animal husbandry. Housing varied from simple wattle and dwarf structures to sophisticated mud brick constructions with public architecture like granaries and diversionary channels evidencing community organization and resource management. Each culture developed distinctive ceramic traditions from red and black and red ware of Ahar and Malwa to wheel-made pottery of Jorwe alongside metal tools and ornaments highlighting artisanal skills and technological advancements. Unique burial customs from the extended to crouching positions and worship of deities through terracotta figurines reveal complex spiritual life and ancestral reverence of the people. Changes in dwelling styles and subsistence method in response to climatic variations, such as the transition from agricultural reliance to more pastoral and foraging activities in certain cultures, illustrate adaptability and resilience of the people. So now we will discuss about how people in the Indian subcontinent shifted their reliance from copper to iron. Iron deposits, notably abundant in India's Chota Nagpur region and central India, contrasted sharply with the limited copper resources. This abundance paved the way for transformative shift in the material culture. So there was a shift in the material culture in the Indian subcontinent. With iron's introduction, the societal reliance on scarce and expensive copper and bronze items, which were only accessible to the elite, began to wane. This democratized the access of essential tools and equipment. So copper was very expensive and it was available only to the wealthy people, but with the availability of iron, everyone could have the access to different kind of tools and equipments. The adaptation of iron tools marked the effective conclusion of Stone Age. Iron's durability and strength facilitated the development of agriculture by enabling the clearance of dense forests, especially in the Ganga Valley. So with the coming of iron, we find total decline in the Stone Age, and there was a clearance of dense forest in the Gangetic Valley that led to the growth of agriculture. Iron tools significantly boosted the agricultural productivity and expansion. Farmers were able to cultivate previously untamed lands, leading to increased settlement in fertile areas. The agricultural surplus, aided by iron technology, fertile lands and water resources, led to the emergence of second urbanization phase in India, notably in the Ganga Valley, fostering cultural and economic development. Now, iron technology and its role in expanding the settled life. Clearing of dense forest. With iron axes and plows, enterprising farmers cleared the thick forest of the Subhumid Ganga plains, facilitating the spread of agricultural based settled life. The use of iron tools extended beyond agriculture, aiding in quarrying stone for monumental constructions and digging wells and irrigation tanks, crucial for sustainable settlements. So iron was not only used for agriculture but for other constructional activities and digging wells and irrigation tanks also. The strategic importance of Ganga Valley, enriched by iron technology, is underscored in India's epic tales, the Mahabharata and Ramayana, situating key events in the region. So in Mahabharata and Ramayana, we find epic usage of iron. The fertile Ganga plains, supported by iron technology, saw the rise of early political formations like the Mahajanapadas and the Magadha Empire, shaping the course of Indian history. So the formation of Mahajanapadas and that of the stories in the ancient Indian culture shaped the course of Indian history. Cultural and religious development post iron technology introduction. So what are the cultural and religious development which took place after the introduction of iron in the Indian subcontinent? Following the epic era, cultural focus moved farther east to Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, areas that benefited immensely from iron technology and its impact on society. Mahavira and Buddha also had important relationship with that of the iron culture in the subcontinent, because in these fertile eastern regions, figures like Buddha and Mahavira emerged, preaching against the ritualistic and sacrificial aspects of prevailing Brahmanical region advocating for non-violence and righteousness. The teachings of Buddha and Mahavira laid the groundwork for Buddhism and Jainism, respectively influencing the spiritual and moral dimensions of Indian civilization. The conducive environment created by iron technologies influence on agriculture and urbanization supported the development of significant political entities, including the first Indian empire of Magadha, which we will discuss later in our videos. The integration of iron technology into agricultural and societal frameworks catalyzed a period of unparalleled cultural richness and economic prosperity in ancient India, fostering advancement in arts, literature and science. So iron was the catalyzing factor of advancement in ancient Indian cultures. Now, black on red ware culture. This was one of the significant culture of the Iron Age. How was it? The black and red ware culture is found across India from Harappan culture sites in Gujarat to the megalithic cultures in South India, indicating its widespread use and significance in ancient Indian civilization. It is very difficult to attribute a certain area to black and red ware culture because whole of the Indian subcontinent has presence of black and red ware ceramics all around the areas. Significantly, in No Bharatpur district of Rajasthan and Atranji Khera, Eta district of Uttar Pradesh, black and red ware appears on a distinct stratigraphic layer positioning above the ochre colored pottery and below the painted grey ware, denoting unique cultural phase. So we find existence of black and red ware culture above the ochre colored pottery, which means it came after the ochre colored pottery culture, and after the black and red ware culture came the painted grey ware, and thus the chronological layers in Atranji Khera evidence the arrangement of cultures in the Indian subcontinent. Due to its specific stratigraphic horizon and associated artifacts, this ceramic ware has been recognized as indicative of independent culture. So this was an independent culture and we find its evidence all around the Indian subcontinent. The black and red ware is noted for being made from fine materials and well baked clay, distinguishing itself from the Harappan and Chalcolithic pottery by its lack of paint. Primarily, the pottery forms include bowls and dishes. The black and red ware, with the name itself, you may think that it is a kind of painting technique where black and red color have been used, but no, it is not like that. This black and red paint comes from the inherent features of the clay, which has been made by the firing technique of oxidation and reduction. So no paint has been applied on these ceramics. It is a technique through which the color has been made. The earliest reported occurrence of iron usage is associated with the black and red ware culture at No. The artifact and chronology of black and red ware culture. The findings at Atranji Khera include stone blades and few instances of burnt bricks, offering insights into the technological and architectural practices of the time. So Atranji Khera is very important site of black and red ware culture. The thermoluminescence dating of pottery, the black and red ware culture, is ascribed to the period of 1450 to 1200 BC, situating it at the border timeline of ancient Indian history. So this was situated, the black and red ware culture existed from 1450 to 1200 BC. The specific placement of black and red ware culture in the archaeological layers helps the archaeologist in dating and understanding the sequence of cultural development in ancient India. So this is important for dating and understanding the sequence and chronology of cultural development in ancient India. The artifacts and the chronological positioning of black and red ware culture provide valuable insights into the technological advancement, daily life and cultural practices of ancient Indian societies during these period. Now painted grey ware, which comes right after the black and red ware culture. Painted grey ware culture is defined by its characteristic pottery, first identified in Aichhatra in Bareilly district of Uttar Pradesh in 1944. Its significance was further underscored with discoveries at Hastinapur in 1950 to 51. The culture marks the first large-scale and effective use of iron in India, highlighting its pivotal role in the development of ancient Indian society and technology. This was the first large-scale use of iron technology in India. Found mainly in the Indo-Gangetic Divide and Upper Ganga-Yamuna Doab, major sites include Sundargarh, Bairat, Noh, Panipat, Varnava and Ropar, along with notable presence in modern Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Bihar and Madhya Pradesh. So these are the areas where PGW culture has been found. Sites such as Bairat, Panipat, Purana Kella and Hastinapur are interpreted with the Mahabharata epic, suggesting the PGW people's close ties with narrative and possibly representing the second wave of Aryans. Now this is highly debatable, but relationship between the Mahabharata sites and PGW site is very much evident in whole of the Indian subcontinent, especially in the northern part. PGW pottery is made from well levigated clay using a fast wheel coated with thin slip and fired under reduction conditions to achieve a smooth ashy surface decorated with geometric and naturalistic pattern. So that was all about the pottery technique, ceramic technique used in the PGW sites. Technological aspects of PGW culture. The PGW was crafted using advanced pottery techniques, including the use of fast wheel and firing at temperatures around 600 degrees centigrade to achieve its distinctive grey color and smooth texture. So that was the making process of PGW artifact. Vessels, often dishes with carved sides and bowls with stretched sides, were adorned with black geometric patterns including dots, lines, circles and swastikas, as well as naturalistic motifs like lotuses and suns. The PGW people cultivated rice and wheat, indicating advanced agricultural practices, and lived in wattle and dwarf houses, reflecting their architectural preferences. They are credited with the definitive use of domesticated horses, underscoring their advancement in animal husbandry and transportation. So they were involved in the techniques of animal husbandry, and that required usage of proper kind of transportation also. The archaeological evidence presents a more modest picture of PGW culture compared to grandiose depictions found in epics, Puranas and later literature. So the literary and archaeological connections can be derived from the PGW culture, where we find the literary evident places like the Mahabharata sites very much in contrast with the PGW culture. Distribution and chronology of PGW. We will find out about the area where PGW culture have been found, and along with that we will try to identify the period when it was evident. Beyond the core area in the Indo-Gangetic Divide, stray finds of PGW has been reported from locations such as diverse as Sindh, Pakistan and various districts across Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar and Madhya Pradesh. So these are the areas where we find existence of PGW culture. Several PGW sites such as Chhatra and Kampil are directly linked to historical and epic narratives, notably the Mahabharata, indicating a significant cultural and historical overlap. The artistic expression found in the PGW pottery with its intricate designs and motifs reflect the cultural aesthetics and technological sophistication of the people. Radiocarbon dating of PGW culture between the 1000 to 600 BC situates it with the critical period of cultural and technological transition in ancient India. The radiocarbon dates suggest that PGW existed from between 1000 to 600 BC, but these dates are not always very much reliable. The PGW culture's contributions to agriculture, pottery and domestic life, along with its pivotal associations with the epic narratives, underscore its pivotal role in shaping the historical and cultural landscape of ancient India. Thus, PGW culture is very much significant while correlating the literary evidence along with the archaeological findings of ancient Indian history. Northern Black Polished Ware. Now this is one of the most advanced ceramics ware we find in whole of Indian history combined together. The introduction of iron technology around the 7th century BC facilitated the colonization of middle and lower Ganga Valley, enabling intensive farming and settlement. The NBPW period is marked by the emergence of cities and formation of Mahajanapadas in the Ganga plains, particularly in 6th century BC, indicating significant political and urban development. So this was a period of significant political and urban development where we find a phase of second urbanization with the formation of the 16 Mahajanapadas. This area witnessed the setting period of major Hindu epic, the Ramayana, and saw the rise of Buddhism and Jainism, reflecting a period of rich cultural and religious evolution. So we find existence of rich cultural and religious evolution during the period of NBPW. By the 6th century BC, many Mahajanapadas were unified under Magadhan Empire with Patliputra as its capital, laying the foundation for Mauryan Empire and further political consolidation. The period saw the re-emergence of writing as in archaeological evidence. Writing was already evident from the Vedic period, from the onset of the Vedic period, but we do not find any architectural or archaeological evidence of it because they were written on perishable materials. Using the Brahmi script for Buddha and Jaina literatures and the Ashokan edicts and the introduction of silver punched marked coins indicating advanced administrative and economic system. So this was the period of re-urbanization, the period of second urbanization in the Indian subcontinent. Characteristics of NBPW pottery. The NBPW pottery is known for its technical superiority, made from well-levigated clay on fast wheel, resulting in a sturdy thin ware with a glossy surface. The surface was glossy and thin sturdy pottery can be seen during this period. The pottery is recognized by its striking mirror-like glossy surface with colors ranging from light to jet black, steel blue and occasionally silver and golden brown or chocolate. Common shapes include dishes with convex or straight sides and bowls with various profiles. Decorations when present are minimal, consisting of simple bands or strokes in various colors. So these are the kind of decorations and design we find in the sturdy NBPW pottery. The luxurious quality and the practice of repairing broken vessels with metal rivets suggest NBPW was a deluxe ware reserved for societal elites. It spread across India and into Bangladesh and Sri Lanka indicates its high value and possible dissemination by the Buddhist monks and officials. So this ware was probably used for ritualistic purpose and was reserved for usage only by the elites of the society. This period also saw advancement in steel production. Steel is an alloy of iron, and during this period we find usage of steel also. NBPW's role in the second urbanization. The use of iron technology and widespread adaptation of NBPW are closely linked with second urbanization of India, leading to a significant social and political transformation. The NBPW period is critical for understanding the spread of major religions like Buddhism and Jainism, as well as cultural narratives encapsulated in the Ramayana. The period's technological innovations, particularly in metalworking and pottery, alongside the introduction of coinage, reflect a complex and growing economy around the ancient Indian culture. The distribution of NBPW across north, central and southern India as well as in the neighboring regions showcases its importance and interconnectedness of ancient Indian society. The historical impact of NBPW is that spanning from 600 BC to 100 BC, the NBPW period encompasses significant historical milestones including the rise and expansion of Magadhan and Mauryan empires, setting the stage for subsequent historical developments in the region. Now we will go through an overview of the Iron Ages in India. From the use of copper and bronze to widespread adaptation of iron technology, ancient Indian civilization experienced significant technological advancement, facilitating agricultural expansion, urbanization, and social stratification. The distinct stratigraphic context of black and red ware and painted grey ware provide insights into the chronological development of ancient Indian societies, underscoring the importance of pottery in archaeological dating and cultural delineation. The second urbanization phase in India saw the emergence of cities and political entities known as Mahajanapadas, facilitated by the advancement in agriculture and technology, particularly in pottery and metalwork. The periods discussed witnessed the setting of epic narratives like the Mahabharata, Ramayana, the rise of major religions such as Buddhism and Jainism, and the spread of cultural practices beyond the Indian subcontinent. The evolution from black and red ware to PGW and finally NBPW illustrates the technological and artistic advancement in pottery, reflecting social changes and demand for luxury goods among the elite. The advancement in material culture, the strategic importance of technological innovations, and formation of significant political entities illustrate the complex interplay between technology, cultural practices, and political power in shaping the history and civilization of ancient India. So that was all about the important material cultures found in the Indian subcontinent. We have covered the different Chalcolithic cultures and the Iron Age cultures in mostly the northern and central part of Indian subcontinent. In our next video, we will discuss about the megalithic structures and the archaeological evidences from the South Indian part of Indian subcontinent. Thus, hope you liked it and please support me so that I can bring brighter contents in future. Thank you.